Welcome to the Gsmc Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the Gsmc Fitness Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Christian Mares, and here we are for another episode, the second episode, and I'm excited to be here. And today, we're pretty much going to just talk about, I'm just going to go into, because I know a lot of people, when they want to start going into fitness and things like that, one of the biggest questions is, they want to know where to start. They want to know what to do, and then, just some beginning things, kind of just to, let them know how to dive in deep into things like that. So that's what we're going to be delving into today. In my first segment, I'm going to tell you, pretty much everything, where to start, essentially. And then in my next segment, I'll be telling you, how to schedule, how to meter things out so you know what you're doing for the most part. And then a little later on, I'll be going into some more things like, tools that you'll need, things that you'll need to do, how to get there. And that segment is a little more optional, but still very important as well. And then later on for my last segment, I'm going to go into the importance of stretching, because that's actually very, very extremely important. And I'm also going to give, throw a little surprise there, because I've been debating for the past couple of days, who's been the best buff actor, out of Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson, and Arnold Schwarzenegger? Out of all those three, who has been the best buff actor? And, that's more personal, because, it's more like tailored toward who's been the best in my life. So I'm going to give my opinion on that at the end. So make sure you stick around to find out who I think is the best buff actor. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So, where do you start and where to start? It can be an easy question, but can also be very difficult. So the first thing I usually say is to get into the right mindset, because having a good mind and knowing what you're getting yourself into is definitely a very good place, or a good thing to know in general. So getting in that right mindset is definitely one of the most important things that you could do. So because me personally, I know I guess I could say when I generally started my path towards fitness was around when I was around middle schoolish. I was pretty young, and that was when I used to look at relatives and family members, my brother, hey, these guys are ripped, they're jacked. I'm like, they're jacked for no reason, they don't even do nothing, and that was what made me realize that everyone's body is different. But the main thing is, I started early, and then I put myself in that mindset. I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be an athlete in this, and I want to do this to reach, so-and-so goal. So, yes, the mindset is probably one of the most important, or it might be, it is. It's probably the most important thing here. So, make sure you get yourself into that mindset, based on whatever motivation motivates you, whatever goal you have, whether you just want to do it for fun, whether you have a goal of losing weight or something, like I was talking about in my last podcast. Make sure you go and watch it just in case you didn't see it or listen to it. But make sure you have a goal in mind as well, because that's really good motivation to put you into that mindset if you aren't already. So make sure you have a goal in mind, and or just something in general that will put you into that mindset of wanting to do it. Because again, you want to be able to actually want to do this. If you have to force yourself to do it, it's not necessarily a bad thing per se, unless you're just extremely unhealthy, but you don't want to force yourself to do it. You want this to be something that you actually want to be able to do, okay? So keep that in mind as well, and make sure that you're, rewarding yourself in this, because this is supposed to be a good thing. There's progress. Next up, do not be afraid to invest. You know what I mean? And by that, I mean, take it like this. Say I'm a guy who wants to start a podcast. What do you need? You need a microphone, you need a laptop, you need all these different things. And you have to essentially invest in those things. I can't start a podcast with a scratchy third grader Xbox mic. Like, how am I supposed to do that? You know what I mean? So you have to invest in what you're trying to do. And when it comes to this, fitness is an investment. It really is. You know, whether you're talking about having a diet, you got to invest in the right foods. You know what I mean? You have to invest in, paying for that, and good foods at that, I'd suggest, or, more organic foods, but then again, whatever you have access to is what you can have. So I won't judge if it's not or something like that. So just make sure you're getting the best food possible, or, make sure you're investing in those things. And, of course, when it comes to working out, if you're more of an at-home kind of person, like you want to have an at-home gym or something like that, invest in an at-home gym, invest in dumbbells, invest in, or if you have a garage and you want to work out there, invest in like in the bar, the weight bar, the 45-pound weight bar, and, some plates along with that. That'll be cool. A bench, that'll help. Or if you just want to use a chair or something like that, it really doesn't matter, to be honest. Just make sure you're investing in, invest in your craft or whatever you're trying to do. You got to put more money towards it to show that, this is something for you. So be mindful of that as well. And that accounts for both dieting and working out. So just make sure you're doing that. As well as invest your time as well. I almost forgot that. Make sure you invest your time. That means putting time towards it, whether that's just waking up at certain times or maybe just looking at your day and then cutting out certain portions of that day and just saying, I'm going to dedicate this to this section. I'm going to dedicate this to doing this. You know what I mean? So make sure that you understand that it does take some form of sacrifice, and that's with everything. So, it's okay, and you can start out with any level of sacrifice. It really doesn't matter right now, because your thing right now in the beginning is to figure out your groove. That's what you're trying to do here. So make sure, just understand that sacrifice is key in this as well, and understand that doing that and giving up, being sacrificial in this way is only going to help you in the end, especially later on, because like I said before, my last week, discipline is everything. Discipline. So yes, be mindful of that. And next up is make sure that you work out, and when you work out specifically, make sure that you work out with care. And also when you're buying food for and this kind of ties into what I just said about the diet. When you're buying food for your diet and things of that nature, make sure that you're buying the food with care as well. Make sure you're buying the foods that will help you. And this is something that I talk about a lot. Make sure you buy the foods that are specifically going to help you. You got to do your research on the things that you need to help you reach that goal. If you're trying to get big pectorals, you need to research foods that are built for muscle, because you're trying to grow muscle. You're trying to get muscle growth. That's what you're trying to do. So, look into proteins, get your nuts, get your meats and things of that nature. Not too many meats, or not red meats, because that can just be bad, especially in the long run. So understand that as well. But yeah, make sure you're buying your food with care. Understand what your body needs. And that ties into what I said in my last podcast as well. What it was when I said you need to understand your body, which is something that you learn later on. And it's not something that you learn when you first start. So I don't expect you to really know unless you're just the kind of person that already knows, beforehand, which is great if you do know beforehand. But if you don't worry about it. You'll learn as you go. And mistakes will be made along the way. That's just how it is. So, don't even worry about it. Next up, I'd have to say, just make sure that you don't think about what other people are going to say about you doing whatever you're going to do. Don't factor in what anybody else is going to say, unless it's just really negative. And then that, unless you're hurting yourself and someone's saying, hey, man, you need to calm down because you're hurting yourself. This really isn't progressive. Unless it's like that. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Just understand that you're doing what you need to do to help yourself. And, you're taking these steps to help yourself. And as long as you actually are being beneficial towards yourself, then you should be all right. And, I'd say, honestly, just block everyone else out that is telling you, don't do this, or this is terrible, or you don't need to do this. If it's something that you want to do, go ahead and do it. That's all I mean by that. So, make sure that, or hopefully, you're able to block these other people out who are telling you any different or are telling you that you can't do it, especially if people are telling you that you can't do it. I know personally for me, when people tell me that I specifically can't do something, like if you specifically look me in my eyes and tell me you can't do this, I'm literally going to attempt it. That's my next step. That's straight motivation right there. That's my motivation. So if that's your motivation as well, just make sure you, go ahead and do it. Take that risk, take the chance. You really got nothing to lose, to be honest, unless you literally just don't have the finances, which in that case, you can, there's still things that you can do as well. I'll probably talk about that in the future. If you have a low financial status, things that you can still do to help yourself and, get into this realm and be healthy, essentially. Because I know that, having a low financial status would mean in most cases, or just a lot of cases in general, that you don't have access to the right kinds of foods and stuff like that. Or if you, especially in a time of COVID like this, you can't go out and things like that because you can't afford it if you get sick. And now, you might not have health care or something. I don't know what the situation may be, but I'll probably talk about it in the future. So, we'll probably get down to that. But yeah, keep all these things in mind. Get in the right mind state. Understand what you need to do. Set that goal. Understand that goal. And maybe even hopefully that goal evolves. Having an evolved goal isn't bad. I'd suggest more so, that you wouldn't. Me personally, I don't typically like when goals just, constantly change, but a goal changing is not a bad thing at all. Goals can change 3 or 4 times throughout the course of you trying to make it there. So that's not a bad thing, and it's not a abnormal thing either. It's completely standard for that to happen. So that's completely all right for that. So just make sure that you're looking at that goal and making sure it's right is I guess the best way to put it. Make sure that goal is right. Make sure it's actually what you want. And and honestly, this is something for me. I've kind of been stuck in between making sure the gain is attainable and just setting a very high goal for yourself that honestly may not even be attainable. But because for me personally, I take that as a challenge. Setting a goal that, like, say you want to lose 300 pounds. That, and so, like, say you're 600 pounds, you want to lose and you want to lose 400 pounds, more like it. That may sound unattainable, but would it be good for you? Yes. Would it be more healthy? Yes. Is it technically attainable? Yes, it is. But does it seem impossible? Yes, it does. So I guess personally I would be more in the camp of, now when I actually think about it, I guess I'll be more in the camp of having less attainable goals that seem grand but really are attainable when you really sit down and think about it. So don't be afraid to have these big extravagant goals. As me personally, I would suggest that along the way you have, smaller goals that lead up to that big goal, because I think that would be more effective, because you'd be more motivated to reach those small goals than just have this huge goal in the distance that is super far away. Although some people may take more motivation out of that, honestly. So, but whatever the situation is, have that in mind, and that will, I can almost guarantee you, that will put you in the right mindset. And again, don't be afraid to invest. And investing in your health is never a bad thing. Investing in your fitness life is never terrible. It's never a bad decision unless you make it one. If I spend $100,000, if I even had that much, if I spent $100,000 on literal weights, that's not a good investment at all. You know what I mean? All you need are like 6 different weights. If we're talking weights, all you need are like 6 different weights, and you're good, honestly. Like for me, I guess I'd say all I need is maybe a 25 pound, and these are dumbbells that I'm talking about. All I need is a maybe a 25, a 35, a 45, and maybe a 65, and maybe some plates or something, or and a bar as well. Like I don't need that much. Like you don't need a whole gym training set to do that. So just keep that in mind as well. And again, make sure you work out with care. Buy things with care. And when I said work out with care, like I said, doing workouts, like say I'm doing some curls. I always use curls as an example because it's the easiest. Like make sure you're curling all the way up, and then you stop, you curl all the way back down, getting that full workout in because you'll get the full benefits. That's what you want. That's what you want to have at the end of the day. That's the goal. You want these full benefits, so why not give it your full effort at the end of the day? So make sure you're giving it your workouts the full amount of care that it deserves. And last thing as well, again, one more time, don't care what other people are saying about you starting that journey, because other people will criticize you on it. That's just how the world is. That's just how life is. There's gonna be someone to criticize you, saying, yeah, this is stupid. Just give up, And it's not as cliche as it sounds. It really does happen. Trust me. So make sure you keep your mind out of the gutter in that regard and stay focused. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end this segment. And when I come back, I'm going to be talking about scheduling and how to do that, and where to cut things and meter things out and how to do that. And then in my next segment after that, I'll be talking about the tools that you'll need or maybe not need. Some things are optional as well. And then my last segment, I'm going to talk about the importance of stretching, as well as I'm going to be going through my top, out of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson. I'm going to give you my top buff actor that I think is the best in my personal opinion. And with that, I'll catch you guys on the flip side right after these messages.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Alright, what's going on, everybody? Here we are back with the very next segment, and here we are to talk about scheduling and the importance of it, and just how to do that in general, because I know that again, when it comes to new people coming into this world, they got a lot of questions about how to do different things, and I understand that personally, because we all struggle with these things at some point, so very understandable. And again, in my last segment, we were talking about just where to start in general, and just some basic ideas on that, just where to start. So just some pretty basic things, but also extremely important. There were about 4 or 5 things that I mentioned that that you should keep in the back of your mind for sure when you're about to start. So make sure you go back and listen to that if you haven't. And again, while scheduling will be right now, and after this, I'm going to be talking about the tools that you'll need and just some more optional things that you could add to your arsenal. And these are tools, physical things that you may or may not need, or things that I think you might need starting out, or things of that nature. Very basic things like that. And then after that, for my last segment, we're going to be going over the importance of stretching, which is extremely important. Stretching is very important. And then after that, I'm going to, out of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson, I'm going to give my favorite buff actor, that I've experienced in my life, and take a guess who that might be. So go ahead and take a guess at that. But in the meantime, here we are in this next segment, and here we are, scheduling, which is also important as well. I don't think it's as important as maybe some of the things I talked about in the last segment, because those things in the last segment are what starts you off. So, but as far as scheduling goes as a whole, I do think that I think that for certain people it can be extremely important, but overall it is important. But yes, it's definitely something that you need to know how to do. I think the reason that I don't put so much of an emphasis on it is because I personally schedule really well. I think when it comes to this, when it comes to working out or saying if I'm on a diet, I think I'm personally pretty good at that. So I usually don't put too much importance on it, but sometimes I got to keep in mind that other people may not be as good at scheduling and things of that nature. So I guess, yeah. So if you're a terrible scheduler, this is definitely for you, obviously. But yes, make sure that you're scheduling yourself, metering things out, and understand where to place these things when you are starting out. Because in the beginning, you're gonna need structure, especially if you're the kind of person that hasn't mastered self-discipline. If you haven't mastered that self-discipline, you can't if you can't tell yourself no to certain things and items and food or whatever, or if you're just too tired and you don't want to get up and you're just being lazy and you can't listen to yourself, then yeah, this is all for you. So the first thing that I have is to make alarms for yourself. And I say that because I personally have billions of alarms for myself. I got trillions, millions, zillions, cotillions of alarms. I'm looking at my phone right now, and I literally have, man, I got a 7:45 alarm, a 7:49 alarm. Who has a 7:49 alarm in existence? Nobody. AM at that. And then I got like all kinds of PM, afternoon, noon alarms. Like I have so many alarms, and they're all for different things. Like literally they expand in different categories, not even just fitness. But I suggest that you set yourself some alarms, make yourself some alarms. If you need to put notes on them, put some notes on them. That detail what you need to do. If you already know what the alarm is or whatever, then good. But I suggest that you make some alarms for yourself because that'll definitely help. You're super sleepy. You might forget about some things. You might forget that you need to do this in like 30 minutes. And now when that alarm goes off, you remember. It's going to suck when you realize that you need to do it and you're so tired at that. But you'll be grateful at the end of the day when you realize, hey, I could have missed that entire workout, but I didn't because I had those alarms. And that's something that I used to do a lot, especially in school. I used to set a lot of alarms because I know that, like back in high school, middle school, and stuff like that. I know we used to have to get up like at, because I know school used to be early back then. I was like, the school used to be like at 7 a.m. or something like that, yeah. Because middle school used to be like at 7:30. I think that's when it used to start, and then high school was like at 8:30. But I remember I used to get up like at 5 a.m, and I used to do like an hour workout. So like by 6 I would be done, and then I remember I used to like rush taking a shower, rush working out. Like I used to rush taking a shower and like all this extra stuff, getting dressed and things like that. And then I used to sprint out to the bus and still miss it. End up walking to school. It was a terrible thing. But the main point of that is, set some alarms for yourself. It'll definitely help. It could have helped me not miss the bus if I would have set an alarm after I woke up. But then again, I didn't have a phone back then. Yes, alarms are really important. I put value on alarms because they help me a lot. They help me every day. I have alarms on days that I don't even need alarms. Like, I didn't even need an alarm today, and I still set one, and it still woke me up. And then and the good thing about alarms is that after a while, your body will adapt to it, and then you'll just end up waking up whenever the time is. Like if you have an alarm to wake you up at a certain point in the morning or something like that, like say you set an alarm for 6 a.m. every day, eventually you're just going to end up waking up at like 5:59 by instinct. It's crazy. And, some of you might already know this or have already experienced this, but it's insane. It's like, it's really cool. Like, that happens to me at this point, because, as of recent, I'm not even going to go and get into that. Just some personal stuff about how terrible I am at waking up, or how I was for the past few months. But make sure to figure out what days that you're going to work out and diet. Make sure you plot this out, whether you put it on a calendar or a planner or something. It doesn't matter, or in your phone. It doesn't really matter to me. Or if you just write it down, that's cool as well. Make sure you write down what days that you're going to work out. I know my schedule used to be, I used to work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as a rest day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday as a rest day. So Sunday and Wednesdays were my rest days, and every other day was a workout day. I used to work out 5 days a week and have 2 rest days. I remember when I first started, I used to work out 7 days a week, but then until I realized that was just unhealthy. But yeah, make sure you figure out a schedule that works for you. I know I like to space out the rest days and the workout days so that there's an even distribution of workout days when it's lined up with the rest days. So say 3 workout days, 1 rest day. 3 workout days, 1 rest day. Say Monday, Tuesday rest, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, hey, it's 2-3, but hey, I try to meter out as best as possible. Maybe I could have thought that through more honestly. Maybe I could have put the rest day on a Thursday. Maybe that would have been smarter. Well, let me see. Friday, Saturday. No, see, it still wouldn't have worked because there's 7 days in a week. There's no way there's no logical way that you could put. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. You know what? I'll end up figuring this out later. I can go on a whole tangent trying to think about what the rest day, the distribution, and all this extra stuff. I only took 1 math class in college, for crying out loud. It is what it is. But yeah, make sure you can plot that out and stuff like that. Make sure you write it down somewhere so you can remember. Make sure so you don't forget. And also make sure I can't say make sure, but when you get into this, you're eventually gonna catch a rhythm. You're gonna do it so much, kind of like how I said with waking up. You're gonna catch a rhythm, and your body's gonna catch on, and you're gonna get this muscle memory, and I guess so to say, and you're gonna be able to just do it all the time. And honestly, without even complaining or, without your body groaning all over the place, you're going to eventually it's just going to be a thing that comes so natural. So that's something that I know I was usually excited for when I, whenever I started. I was like, I used to say stuff like, I really can't wait until this becomes muscle memory so I don't have to, be so mad about having to work out or having to eat this salad again, But the routine will come in. It will come in. It's different for everybody, so I can't really give like an exact day or week or month number. But I guess for reference, for me personally, I'd say that I felt the routine around. I'd say for working out, because I catch on with working out pretty easily these days. I catch the routine around, I'd say, maybe the second week, honestly. That's usually when I catch the routine. And then I'd say that I probably catch the diet around anywhere from maybe probably the same range, but maybe a little longer, honestly, because the diet is definitely more of a challenge to me. I'd say probably anywhere around the 1 month mark, if I'm just being completely honest. Anywhere from 4 weeks to a month, give or take the same thing. But yeah, you'll catch the routine eventually. It'll come to you. Next up, make sure that you incorporate rest and cheat days on that schedule that you're making. And make sure you put down your cheat days if you're going to have cheat days. I don't necessarily condone cheat days. Like, that's not my favorite thing in the world. And, I wouldn't really encourage them. But if you need them, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it helps ease you off of whatever you're trying to do, especially when it comes to diet. Having cheat days will ease you off of that diet. Cheat days on workout days, I mostly just consider those rest days, more than anything, because you're just not going to work out. That's not necessarily a cheat day, or I guess it is. Doesn't really matter, whatever you want to call it. But make sure you incorporate both of those into your schedule of dieting and working out. So, because at the end of the day, in my opinion, I don't necessarily can condone them, but I see them as helpful as well. So they're definitely okay to incorporate into whatever you're doing. So yeah, if you need them, go for it. Absolutely. You will not be shamed for having cheat days on your schedule. So go ahead and do that and make sure that you're putting your fullest, your best foot forward. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Also, make sure that you have some kind of and this kind of goes back into what I was saying before. I do condone having some kind of guide or schedule. Make sure that you have some kind, like I said, again, whether it's on your phone, like whether you have a planner. I don't care if it's an old high school planner that they used to give you on the first day. I don't care what it is. Make sure you have some kind of planner, whether it's on your phone or paper or, again, I would say that if you if you just have a very good memory like that, then you can just use your memory and remember. But then again, if it's someone who's just starting out, I highly doubt that they'd be able to remember all these things that they really don't even have a passion for at this point. So especially if you're starting, I'll put it like this: if you're starting out, make sure that you have a planner of some kind. And if you've been doing it for a while and you're just trying to get back into it, then nah, I think you're good. I don't think you need it. Just go ahead and you could probably do it right off of memory, like I usually do nowadays. But then again, like I said, I know that a lot of people aren't built like that. So, yes, again, do what you can and, go ahead and work with it. Next up, I need you to be able to look forward to it. And that's probably the, other than, actually, you know what? That's probably the most important out of all of this scheduling. Make sure that you're looking forward to it. Because if you're not looking forward to it in any kind of way, even if you just have to look forward to getting one step closer to your, inevitable results, then that's okay, because you need to look forward to it in some way, because the second you stop looking forward to it in some way, it's going to become a pain, and you don't want it to become a pain, because it's a long process. It really is. Whether you have a long-term goal or a short-term goal, whether you're just doing fitness just to be in fitness, that's an extremely long-term goal, because God knows how long that's going to be. Or whether you have a set goal of, say I want to lose 100 pounds, even, that's a long goal as well, because who knows? I don't know what kind of body type you have, and you may not either. So who knows how long that's going to take? Again, learn your body, and, who knows? So make sure that you're focused in a way to where you can look forward to it as well. Specifically, I'd say working out, because I know it's definitely a lot harder to look forward to eating a salad. Look forward to eating a salad. I've never heard that once in my life. Vegetarians don't look forward to eating salads. That's a lie. If they tell you that, they're probably lying. It's okay. We all do it. No one wants to be vegetarian. It's healthy. I remember I used to, technically speaking, be a vegetarian for a while, which is why I'm saying this, but I only did it because it was healthy. I knew that it was healthy, and I knew that it only had benefits, right? But I didn't enjoy it, so I stopped doing it, and I was still eating healthy, but I just cut out things like sugar and soft drinks and stuff like that. I metered it out better. So again, look at your own life, and look at your schedule, and look at what you're doing in that schedule, and find some way to look forward to it, because come on, you got to be able to look at what you're doing and say, okay, you know what? I can enjoy this. I can enjoy that. I can enjoy all these three things, or I can enjoy this one thing at the very least, and move on with it and push through it. So make sure you're doing that, and hopefully that'll get you through it, or, at the very least, it can give you some enjoyment. And, at its peak, I hope you enjoy all of it, because again, that's what we want. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here for these messages. But don't forget, in my next segment, I'm going to go over the tools that you may or may not need. Some of them are probably optional, in my personal opinion. And then after that, I'm going to be giving you my last segment, where I'm going to be going over the importance of stretching, because stretching is extremely important. I actually thought of that the other day. It's very important, so keep that in mind. And then, literally right after that, I'm going to give you my favorite buff actor of the last 40 years out of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson. Take a guess of who that might be right after these messages. I'll catch you in about 30 seconds or something like that.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back, everybody, from that break. Hopefully I didn't blow your ears out. I mean, I know I'd be talking loud in the beginning and stuff like that, but hopefully I didn't blow your ears out. I mean, I hope. You know, I probably did. You know, 9 times out of 10, I probably did. It's okay. You know, I'm sorry. But anyways, in my previous segment, we talked about scheduling, and in the one before that, we talked about where to start. So if you missed that, go back and take a look at it. Take a listen. I keep saying take a look because, you know, if you don't know, I do YouTube. So, I just be saying things sometimes, honestly. But, again, make sure you take a look at that, you know, if you didn't. Or, I said it again, didn't I? Give it a listen. You know, give it a listen. I'm not even going to attempt saying that sentence again. But here we are. This is the next one. These are tools that you may or may not need. Some of them are optional that you may need on your first time going to the gym, or just, you know, just starting out in general. This is more so just starting out in general. This is just like on the very, very basics, you know, very basic level. So you may or may not need some of these things, but I'm going to go over them anyway, because I think at the end of the day, some of these things are pretty important. So, with that said, and again, after this, I'm going to be going over the extreme importance of stretching and all the things that go along with that. And then after that, I'm going to reveal my favorite buff actor over the past 40 years out of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson. So stick around for that, because that's going to be exciting, and I'm pretty excited to get there. I put a poll up on my Twitter if you didn't see it. Make sure go take a look at it at GMC Fitness Podcast on Twitter. There's an underscore in between there. But yeah, again, here we go. So these are some things that you may or may not need. Again, it's optional. The first thing I have to bring to the table is I'd say it's the most important thing on here for sure, and that's a water bottle. I think that should be self-explanatory, you know. But again, or I guess I really haven't said this, but I remember when I was in high school, because I used to run track, I used to never bring a water bottle. I was known as the man who never once brought a water bottle to practice, to track practice or cross country. Not once did I ever bring a water bottle. And it was crazy because it was absolutely positively unhealthy. You know, after practice, I'm dehydrated. I need some water. The only water is the water in that big cooler that everyone is drinking from. People digging their hands in it, putting their hands all up in the ice, making dirty iced tea with their hands. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm not drinking that. But hey, I ended up drinking it. It was either that or be dehydrated. I mean, what am I gonna do? But again, bring a water bottle, you know, so you don't got to go through that. But just so you know, in case you don't know, gyms don't have dirty coolers like that. My school did, unfortunately. But make sure you bring that water bottle, fill it up. I'd say, in my personal opinion, this is what I would do. In the morning, or I guess I could say overnight, I would freeze some water, and then in the morning take it out, and then whenever you're gonna go to the gym, say you're gonna go to the gym at 12 noon. I'd freeze the bottle overnight, and then in the morning I would take it out, set it on the counter or whatever, and then, you know, by the time it's 12 noon, it's like, say you wake up at 8, you know, take it out at, say, 9, I put it on the counter, let it sit for about 3 hours, and then by the time it's time for you to go, it should be like halfway thawed or like 3/4 thawed or something like that. And, you know, and while you're at the gym, it'll be cold. You know, you got your own ice in it. You know, it'll be a whole iced water. So that's one way to go about it. So yeah, make sure you bring that water bottle. It's an important part of working out, and you should always have one with you. It just so happened that I never used to have one. And even nowadays, or I can't even say nowadays because of COVID, I don't even go to the gyms anymore like that or at all. Because last time I went, I got COVID. That's the story for another time. But again, when you do go, make sure again you'll have your own ice, stuff like that. So that's cool. Or if you go to a fancy gym, you could just go to a vending machine, or they might have like a whole snack bar behind it or something. Like I know a lot of gyms, a lot of the named gyms have like counters back there where freezers where you can get drinks and stuff like that. You can buy drinks. I mean that's cool as well. I mean, as long as you're actually drinking water. I wouldn't suggest that you drink anything else other than water. I mean, Gatorade is okay too, if you want. There was a whole period where I used to drink Gatorades like every single day, and that was a whole new level of unhealthy for my teeth and for my stomach and for just about every other organ that's in my body. But again, a story for another time. But next up, I would say that you should bring a gym bag to carry all these things in, and to carry some other things in that I'm going to get into later as well. Just carry, and by gym bag, I don't mean a whole duffel bag. I just mean like a nice drawstring bag that you could find at the dollar store. I don't even know if dollar stores sell them, but they seem pretty cheap. That old bag that you had in college or something like that. Just bring a nice drawstring bag with you. I think that'll be good enough, as long as it's something that you can carry stuff in. It could be a book, it could be a whole book bag for all I care, honestly. But bring a bag for you to put stuff in, your water bottle, things like that I'm gonna say later. But yes, I think these two are mandatory for me. I'd say bring a water bottle, bring a gym bag. And of course, you can put all these things that I'm about to name and stuff like that. You can put all of these things like inside. If your gym has lockers or something, if you're the type of person to pay for lockers to put it in there, stuff like that, then yeah, you can pay for a locker and put all your stuff in there. But I'm more so the kind of guy to carry stuff with me, which is the purpose of having a bag, which so you can carry it with you and stuff like that instead of carrying like a phone or a water bottle, all this extra stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, bring a bag. That's what I would do. That's just me. And also this one here is optional, but this is what I just suggest. And that is to bring an extra shirt and shorts and or a jacket. That jacket optional. But I would say to bring those things because, depending on what season it is, it may be cold outside, if it's winter or something like that, you got the jacket or you could bring pants as well. If it's winter, bring an extra shirt and pants and or a jacket, if you need it. If it's any other or like if it's fall or winter, bring a jacket or and pants and a shirt. Or if it's like spring and summer, bring an extra shorts and t-shirt or something like that. And I say that because I'm the kind of person who, I'll either work out and play basketball right after or something like that, or the reverse way. I don't know. One way is definitely more healthy than the other. It's definitely more healthy to maybe play basketball, rest, and then go to the gym. But, I'm the kind of guy who likes to go through things like that. It's definitely not one of the healthier ways, though, and I wouldn't suggest that if you're starting off to switch activities like that, especially that quickly. Definitely suggest a rest/water break. But yeah, make sure you those extra clothes will definitely help, especially right after, like once you finish working out or whatever, you're gonna be sweaty, smell terrible, And of course, I'd hope you have deodorant with you, so put that in the bag as well. And, change clothes, and then you're good. Now you can go to the store. Now you can go to your friend's place or whatever, wherever you're going to head to right after that. If you're going to go out in public or something, now you're good. You got a second change of clothes. So that's what I would suggest, honestly. And, make sure you have that in the bag, and that can definitely help you out. Next up, I would say to have workout gloves, especially if you're going to be the kind of person that's going to be lifting dumbbells and or benching, maxing out weight and stuff like that, especially if you're a power or a heavy lifter, get you some workout gloves, that will benefit you. It'll stop you from getting calluses, because I used to get calluses a lot, especially when I started out, because I used to never wear workout gloves until really recently. Like I'd say about maybe 2 years ago, I got workout gloves. But yeah, workout gloves definitely help you a lot. They help you out a lot. So get you some workout gloves. Especially if you're going to be lifting or doing any kind of things with the weights. If you're using machines, I wouldn't really say so. They kind of hinder me when I use them when I'm using a machine. But if you're going to be using any kinds of weights, get some workout gloves for sure. Especially if you want to prevent calluses or things like that. Because I know a lot of women who say, they like to prevent calluses and stuff like that. So yeah, get you some. I usually tell them, get some workout gloves. That'll definitely help you out a lot, and it'll prevent the calluses. For sure. I know I wanted to prevent calluses for sure. I need my hands for other things as well. Piano, specifically, and instruments. Because if you don't know, I am a musician. But, again, moving on from that, I'd also say, especially in the time that we're in right now, I'd say to bring some Clorox wipes. Now, Clorox wipes are very important, too, as well. Especially, I think that should just be self-explanatory. I think that's obvious, honestly. The time that we're living in right now, with COVID and all that, I would assume that most gyms nowadays... Because, again, the last time I went to the gym was last year, October. So it's been a while. It's been a while since I went to the gym. So I don't know how gyms are operating now and if it's a new phase or something. I don't know how these gyms are operating. I don't know. Because I know when I went, they had what do you call it? They had wipes, essentially. They had wipes. They said wipe down your area. But, again, didn't really make a difference considering the outcome. But... like I said, make sure that you have wipes. Make sure you're wiping down everything that's next to you, behind you, especially everything that you're using. Everything that you're using needs to be wiped down, especially for that next person. I personally say wipe it down before you use it, and then wipe it down after you use it. But make sure you wipe it down thoroughly, because when you thoroughly wipe it down, just be safe with it. Especially if you're only if you're going out in public, to these public gyms. You gotta wipe it. You gotta wipe everything down. You gotta wipe down the weights, the plates, the bar, the bench. Pretty much anything, just anything that you're touching. Wipe down the crevices, all that, the machines, every single part that you would even think that you might be touching. Especially, even, because sometimes people forget to wipe down where they were sitting down, or they might wipe down where they were sitting down, but forget other parts. So make sure you're wiping down. I'm not saying you gotta wipe down the whole machine, but make sure you're getting the big stuff for sure, at least the big stuff. So keep those hand wipes on you, and keep yourself stocked with hand wipes. That's probably the number 2 most important thing on this list. The water bottle, then the hand wipes, because trust me, you're gonna need hand wipes, especially in 2021 for sure. That's definitely a top suggestion from me. Bring you some hand wipes for sure. Next up, I would say to bring some light sneakers with you, and you could put those in the bag as well. Actually, it kind of does matter. When I say light sneakers, I mean something I guess by brand. I guess Reebok has some pretty light sneakers. Nike has some nice sneakers as well. I got some. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're pretty light as well. And you can also look into Asics. Asics has some light sneakers too. Again, like I said, Reebok. I definitely say Reebok, Asics, and Nike, because Nike is a jack of all trades. They have all kinds of light sneakers. All shoe brands have their variations of light sneakers, but I'd definitely go with either Reebok, Asics, or Nike as far as your workout kicks and stuff like that. So look into them, especially. And even Puma and Fila, they got some too. So you can look into them as well. So that's what I mean by light sneakers. Any kind of shoe that you would wear for maybe a cross-country race or something like that, or a marathon, or anything of that nature. I wouldn't really say track, because in track you wear spikes and stuff like that. Long-distance runners don't wear spikes. They wear, again, those light sneakers. So yeah, and invest in that as well. If you can, if it's available to you, you could do that, and you got the finances, then go ahead and invest in that, because that's definitely a suggestion from me. Get you some light sneakers, put them in the bag, and use those as your workout sneakers. And again, when you're done, make sure you wash these things down. And that includes your sneakers as well. Whenever I come back from place, I spray it with disinfectant. That's just what I do nowadays, because I'm paranoid like that. And I also put my whole entire outfit in the washer. So, again, make sure you're washing these things. Or you can use one of the Clorox wipes to wipe your sneakers down when you're done. But I think easier way to do it would just be to spray it with disinfectant. Again, that's another thing you could bring with you, some liquid disinfectant. You could bring that with you. That'll be cool as well, along with the wipes, because I'm not saying spray disinfectant the wipe with the Clorox. That's kind of repetitive because the Clorox already has cleaning materials on it, literally Clorox wipes. So, you don't got to repeat it like that. But I am saying it just because, the Lysol or the disinfectant, whatever you have, can get in those crevices if the wipes can't, because it's liquid, you spray it, it can pretty much get anywhere where it needs to be, opposed to a wipe. So yeah, I'd say have that with you as well, just to be prepared. Have that in the bag. And for the last thing, I'd say have some headphones, because I'm the kind of person that likes to listen to music when I work out. I'm not really much of an earbud guy or like an AirPod guy. I'm the kind of guy who likes like headphones like I'm wearing right now, like whole over the ear headphones, noise canceling. I love those. That's just my personal preference. That's what I like to wear. But, if you're a different kind of person, it doesn't really matter. Personal preference is everything with that. Take pick and choose whether you want Studio Beats or AirPods. It really doesn't matter. You could have Galaxy Pods, I haven't met one person with Galaxy Pods, but if you got them, go ahead, rock them, You probably paid enough for them. I can say that for sure. You get, this is the perfect time to pull out your Wish AirPods. Wish be pulling out all kinds of fake items. I could talk about that all day too. But again, personal preference. Do whatever you want with that. Be creative. Doesn't matter. And with that, that's gonna be it for this section. Again, look at these tools, put all these things in the bag, and bring it with you to the gym for the first time, because I think these things will honestly help you. And after this segment, I'm gonna be talking about the importance of stretching, the extreme importance of it, as well as I'm going to give you guys my favorite buff actor of the past 40-ish years, I'd say, out of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson. So stick around for that as well. That's gonna be pretty fun. And with that, I'll be right back after these messages. See ya.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the final segment of my show today. And if you weren't here, or if you just miraculously skipped to the end, or if this is even a clip or something like that on Twitter that you're just randomly seeing, I previously just got finished talking about the tools that you may or may not need to go to the gym for the first time. Just some things like Lysol spray, backpack, headphones, again, book bag, gym bag, or it doesn't matter. And before that, I was talking about just how to get started in general, where to start, and essentially, how to schedule as well. So make sure, if you missed it, make sure you go back and look at those things, and I'm sure those things can help you as well. So look into that. And right now, here we are in this final segment. We're going to be discussing the extreme importance of stretching, because again, stretching is very important, especially to me. I didn't think it was, say, 3-ish, 4-ish years ago. I didn't think stretching was very important. I used to skip those stretches in high school. I'm not going to lie to you. But, nowadays, I see it's extremely important. And it has a lot of benefits, a lot of them. And I'm probably not even going to talk about all of the benefits today, because there's just so many of them. But yes, that's what we're going to be discussing in this segment, as well as later on I'm going to give you guys what you've been waiting for, also what I've been waiting for, my favorite buff actor of the last 40-ish years, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson. Which one is the best? I know, but you don't. Actually, you know what? Take a guess at which my favorite is right now. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and discuss the importance of stretching. So here we go. So the first things first, a lot of people neglect stretching. Like I just said, I was personally someone who did. I did for, like years at a time. I didn't think it was very important. It felt good at times, but for a lot of times it felt unnecessary. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'd rather just get to playing, whatever I'm playing. I'd rather just get to running track, cross country, basketball, whatever I was doing at the time. I just want to get to it. I'm not trying to sit here and stretch all day, but fact of the matter is it's extremely important, and some things can happen to you if you don't. So first things first, obviously, I think it's the obvious thing. It loosens you up first and foremost. You say I do a couple leg stretches, I bend straight over and grab my toes. It's as basic as it is. It's actually a really good stretch. It loosens your legs up to the point where you actually feel comfortable doing whatever you're about to do. Like say you're playing tennis, which requires a lot of agility and different acrobatic motions. You doing that stretch alone is going to help you be able to move your legs in different directions, help your agility, move, stuff like that. It just loosens you up, essentially, Basic as it is, has a lot of properties. Can't even deny that. So, again, yeah, you want to be loosened up. Another thing that it does is prevent cramps. Now, I have a whole lot of stories on cramps, whether it was the time that I used to play football for about a month, did not last very long, and it wasn't due to me being injured. I'll just say, that's a story for another time. But whether I'm talking about the time I got cramps in track, which I will be discussing today. Now, I remember when I used to run track in high school. I remember one time when we were closing out practice after it was a pretty hard session of track practice, and we were closing out practice. Everyone gathers in the middle, says 1, 2, 3 Eagles, or whatever your school was. We were Bears. So we did that, and then I remember the second they finished that chant, I remember I felt something in my leg. I felt something in my leg shoot all the way up my calf muscle. It shot from my heel to my calf. I honestly thought my Achilles heel was about to snap. But it turned out it was just a Charlie horse. And I say just a Charlie horse very lightly because it was extremely painful. I wasn't yelling, but I was screaming in my brain. It was extremely painful. It was absolutely horrendous. And a funny thing, I didn't tell anybody. Because when you get that, you got to get stretched out. That's like essentially the only way to get rid of it. Either that or eat mustard. And I was literally doing nothing about it. So I'm just sitting here in pain the entire time. And it was one of the worst leg pains ever. Specifically leg pains. It was one of the worst leg pains ever. So make sure you stretch so you don't get those Charlie horses. And if you do get a Charlie horse, one of the most effective ways to get it out is to stretch it out. So keep that in mind. And I want to just make sure that you are stretching, before and after these activities, because it also allows for a better performance, in whatever you're doing. Because say you're playing tennis, basketball, running track, whatever you're doing, it really doesn't matter. And say you're stretching, it helps you, you know what I mean? Like I said, it loosens you up to the point where you can dodge this way, you can jump this way, you can run this way, and you feel comfortable doing it, because that's one of the most important things. You feel comfortable doing it. That's the point of stretching, to where, so you don't catch these cramps, so you don't make this sudden movement and then end up straining a muscle, excuse me. So make sure that you make sure that you're stretching for that purpose as well. And also, when you do stretch, you're gonna one of the benefits will be that you're gonna be less sore after the workout. Like say I'm doing doing this workout, or I'm planning to do this workout or something, and before that workout, I stretch. I have a nice stretching session. I'm doing this, that, and the other. And after that workout session, it's going to be much less painful, because if you stretch before our workout session, and let's say you're the kind of person who hasn't worked out in a while, or you don't work out that often, that one session of stretching before you started that workout will help you immensely, and that's just because, you stretching and loosening up, essentially warming up your muscles, it's basically preparing your body to, it's preparing your body to go through that movement that you're about to do, so that when it happens, it's not as bad. And you still will be sore, especially if you haven't worked out in a while, or you haven't worked out before. You're still going to feel that soreness, but it won't nearly be as bad as if you didn't stretch in the first place, for sure. So that's another benefit that will benefit you, because I'm the kind of person that likes to be sore. I know it's kind of weird, but I kind of do like to be sore because it feels like progress to me. But I know a lot of people despise being sore, especially after working out. So that's one thing that'll definitely help you. So if you don't want to feel sore, go ahead and make the decision to start stretching before your workout. And as you stretch after your workout as well, because stretching before and after would probably be the best way to do it. I wouldn't suggest stretching during a workout. That's kind of awkward to stop your workout just to stretch. I do condone stretching as much as possible, but at the same time, stretching during a workout is kind of weird to me. That's just weird to me. Again, do whatever floats your boat, but I wouldn't personally suggest this. But again, it's honestly up to you. And next up, you'll honestly just get better results overall by stretching. Say you're working out, say you're trying to get better at a sport or something, you're going to get better results. Say I stretch before running a race. I can guarantee you that take 2 days. On the first day, run a race, like say run a 100-meter dash without stretching one day, and look at that time. And then the next day, drink some water, stretch, and then run that same 100-meter dash again and see how much faster your time is. Trust me, you will get better results by stretching, as simple as it sounds. It helps a lot, actually. Loosening that body up, very, 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 very important. And next up, I'd say that, or really, it does. It's actually a fact. It opens up your blood flow. You stretching opens up your body. Sometimes you might be congested, even like in your head or something. You might feel congested somewhere in your body, but just by doing this stretch, it opens up everything in your body, in your head, and your muscles, and you can feel it. So, I do it for that benefit as well. So yeah, definitely look into that if you're feeling congested anywhere as well. Yeah, it'll open you up, especially if you're doing the right stretches to do that. And, and essentially if you know what you're doing, which in most cases, I'd assume that, most people do know what they're doing. So, yeah, take a look at a list of stretches. And, and you can essentially do any of the ones that you want, especially if you're new to it, and then just pick which ones you want to do. I'm not saying that you got to do any specific ones. If you're doing a full body workout, I'd expect that you do full body stretches. If it's leg day, do leg stretches. You can stretch whatever you want, but if it's arm day and you're doing leg stretches, it's a bit questionable to me. That's just to me. I suggest that you do all kinds of arm stretches, chest and back stretches, and traps and arms and bicep and tricep stretches. But hey, again, do whatever you need to do. You know your body best. You know your body better than I ever would. So make sure you keep that in mind as well, because everything I'm telling you is more like a basic outline of what you could be doing to help your body. But again, you know your body best, and I don't, so I'm not out here with binoculars just knowing everything about you. So understand that and keep that in mind as well. So next up, we got what I have been waiting for. I should have said what we all been waiting for, but I've been waiting for it too. So over the past 40 years, we have had many bodybuilding actors. And out of these actors, actually, well, I wouldn't consider all of them bodybuilders, but over the past years, we have had these actors who have been very influential and who have played in many different movies. And those actors are Arnold Schwarzenegger, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson, the current of these three. No shots to Vin Diesel in any way, but if I had to pick my favorite one out of those three, first and foremost, I gotta explain something. And this is not a cop-out. But first thing I gotta explain is that as a kid, I used to be a huge Vin Diesel fan. Vin Diesel doing his thing, being on the screen all the time, him being in multiple movies at once, kind of similar to Dwayne Johnson. So he's kind of like a childhood favorite. So I got to put that bias aside, and he's the one who I wouldn't really consider Vin. I mean, I don't even know if he really was a bodybuilder like that. Was he? I really cannot remember, but he's a childhood favorite of mine, with the Fast and Furious and everything. It's just, like, how can he not be one of my favorites? You know what I mean? So that, I feel like that would kind of be cheating if I picked him. So that's why I can't pick, I don't know, I can't pick Vin Diesel. Now, next up, so I feel like, from my personal opinion, I cross out Vin Diesel because I think that would just be too much bias, even though I do like Vin Diesel. That's my guy. But, so that leaves us with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. So, out of these two, who do I prefer more? Or who did I enjoy more? And that's honestly a very hard one. Like, I'm really on the spot right now. I really love Dwayne Johnson, but at the same time, I really love Arnold Schwarzenegger too. Arnold Schwarzenegger that man is absolutely legendary. Became governor. Why did he become governor? But out of these two, because looking at Dwayne Johnson, he's another one that I really like to see. He had some really good combinations. He was in Fast and Furious as well, with Hobbs and Shaw and stuff like that. And he's killing it right now. He's doing a lot of things. Him and Kevin Hart is the best duo around. It's super hard to just say it like that. But oh man. But then you got Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. I used to love seeing him in those old movies, and Predator and Batman, which is, by the way, that Batman movie was the absolute funniest movie of all time. I don't care what you have to say about it. It was hilarious. This man Arnold was giving us lines about freezing that made absolutely no sense. They were complete dad jokes, and I fell for every single last one of them. It was hilarious. I forgot what he said. Something, Ice Age. I was on the floor. I was laughing. It was bad. Oh, man. I don't know. But, as much as it hurts to say, if I gotta pick, if I have to pick, if I'm just so inclined, if I just gotta pick, I gotta pick Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm sorry. I gotta pick him. Come on. I'll be back. Come on now. He killed Predator, man. He killed Predator. What? Dwayne Johnson stopped a monkey. Come on now. What else is there to say? I gotta go with Arnold, man. I'm sorry. He was too cool. Those ice lines were too icy. Man, I'm sorry. He's my favorite bodybuilding actor out of the past 40-ish years. And yeah. Who's your favorite? Hit me up on Twitter, Gsmc_fitness. Hit me up on Twitter about who your favorite may or may not be. Because I have no idea, and I would honestly love to know who your favorite is. But with that said, that's going to cap it off today. And today was a good session. I appreciate you guys for listening, especially if you're still here and you've been here this entire time. That is really great. But with that said, thank you for listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask you to please remember to subscribe to the show and to write a nice review, because that really helps us out a lot. Please. Also, if you can please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, that would also be really nice. Thank you. And again, the GSMC Fitness Podcast is GSMC_fitness on Twitter. Please give me a follow. I post every single day. You know, we can just go in there, have some fun, chat about all different kinds of things. And if you hated my opinion on the actors, then we can debate it there as well. Just hit me up and I will be there. And trust me, this isn't the last episode because I'll be back.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the Gsmc Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.